Hi, everyone. It's Andy here with the Westmoreland Symphony Orchestra for our great series, Six Questions with a Musician. I know it's a novel title, but we are so happy to have Austin Sposato here with us today. Welcome, Austin.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. We're so glad that you could join us. Austin is one of our fantastic horn players, sits in the very back of the orchestra, but they're usually on the highest podium there in the back platform, I guess we could say. But Austin, we get a lot of folks who say to me, they say, Andy, we hear the great music, we love the great music, but, we don't get to really know the musicians of who's up there on stage and their interesting lives and things. So we thought it'd be great to pose some questions to you today, and so glad that you're available.
Sounds
So
great.
cool. A lot of orchestral music is usually played in, wonderfully adorned concert halls and theaters. It's very sumptuous. It's very, velvets and reds and all those kinds of things. But why do you like to connect with audiences in sort of non-traditional or out-of-the-box spaces?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just start by saying that I love the concert hall. But the way I look at it is like the concert hall is a museum, and that's okay. Museums are so important, and it's a place where you go to see art in its like highest and most perfect form.
Cool.
And the concert hall is even more special because it's a living museum where people, musicians, recreate the music in front of you. So it's almost like watching the painter paint their masterpiece in real time. It's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, what can get forgotten a lot with the, as you say, the adorned concert hall, is that art is actually about, even really high art is about everyday things. It's about love and life and death and marriage and struggle. And it's important to, go out and make sure that art is connecting with people in different ways, whether that is in a social environment or in their home or really anywhere else, where you can connect to people on that more in an accessible way, I guess is the best word.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is, the concert hall can sometimes not be the most accessible place because certain things get in the way, like travel or ticket prices, which of course are important for the institutions, but it's really, it's great to make sure that people have access to live music in other places besides just the concert hall.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think too, a lot of people don't realize like a lot of music may have been written to be played at a beer hall, or be written to be played, at a fairground or something. You think
Absolutely.
about that. Yeah. So when you have that pre-concert beer, you don't realize how much of a tradition you're participating in.
That it's a long, centuries old.
Exactly. So what has been some of your most interesting work? I understand you're very much in favor of a lot of contemporary instrumental music. What has been some of your most interesting work in that field?
Yeah, well, so I've gotten the chance to play a lot of brass quintet, which if you don't know that medium, it's two trumpets, horn, trombone, and then either bass trombone or tuba. And the great thing about brass quintet is, and not great thing, is no one really wrote for it before the 20th century. The first composer for brass quintet was probably Victor Ewald's quintets, were some of the earliest ones that you might know. That's like our classic repertoire. But even that is, kind of fairly recent.
Yeah.
So the great thing is you have all this music that's been written by composers who are alive, and also a lot of people are writing for this genre. So my favorite thing has been working with composers on new music written for brass quintet, where you get to have play a part in the composition process. And, you sort of go back and forth and you talk about your instrument and about their vision for it and your vision, and you create something together. And that's, I think, is one of the most rewarding feelings in the world.
Cool. Like sort of that symbiotic relationship a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you see that, you've seen that in the past with composers working with like a certain violinist, whether it's Brahms or Beethoven, they have a favorite violinist that they would write all their pieces for. And you kind of see that now today. with certain composers working with different quartets, like a favorite string quartet or brass quintet or that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's really interesting. Um, so speaking of, chamber music, in its earnest, a lot of folks, as you hold your horn quite proudly, a lot of folks usually think that chamber music, is almost strictly string quartets, which are wonderful. And I'm not, if you love string quartets, not saying anything against them. But why should chamber music focus on more than just that medium, if you will?
Yeah, you see, actually, the horn's quite heavy, so I'm just trying to like get comfortable with it. I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have held this thing for the whole time.
Oh, it's okay.
But yeah, that's a really great question, Andy. I think that the most important thing to remember about chamber music is that no matter what instruments are involved, the most important thing is it's intimate. It's about intimate communication. And if you're going to go see a chamber music concert, that's what you should expect, is seeing each musician communicate with each other, seeing something that they've worked out together and poured their heart and soul into, and seeing them create that for you in real life, right in front of you. And I think that's like, if you see a chamber music advertisement, right, for Westmoreland Symphony has a chamber series or something, and you're like, oh, should I go to that? What should I expect? I think that you should expect to have something that feels really personal. And that's maybe the most rewarding thing as a concert goer.
Yeah, I think some people almost want to transplant like the big concert hall experience and think that that's automatically the chamber experience, when I think I would almost equate that to like the smaller chamber experience is more like you maybe would want to be in someone's living room almost, there's the comfortability of all that.
Exactly. And that's where the name chamber music comes from. And it's this idea of house concerts, playing in someone's living room or parlor. I guess it would have been a salon, right?
Yeah.
And and also that in that same tradition are people playing, by themselves for themselves. So even like amateur musicianship is a part of that, playing for fun. And that's something I've been thinking about with this quarantine time. Is it's a great time to learn an instrument.
Yeah.
There's so much music out there, especially from this 16th and 17th century, written for musicians that are not virtuosos. And it's like, what a better way to pass an afternoon than in your house playing a concert with your family.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Austin Sposato, not only entertaining, educational at the same time. No, it's great. It's great. Don't expect double pay. No, I'm just kidding. So when did you know, Austin, that you wanted to pursue music as your lifelong passion?
Yeah, I would say ninth grade, which can be kind of late for classical musicians, although I hate saying that because it sounds like it's not
It's
something
never too
you
late.
choose. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And actually, I was just hearing of principal horn of some orchestra in France, big orchestra, who didn't start playing horn until she was 22 or something like that. So it really is never too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a really great teacher. His name is Jeff Forden. He's a great player. His group is Chamberosity. They're amazing. And I kind of got lucky and fell into his studio. And he saw someone that was eager to play, and he would just give me like 2.5 hour lessons, no extra charge, which was, and I think just seeing someone put that kind of dedication into me really touched me and made me want to put that work back into the instrument.
Yeah. It's like, you can do it, but then when you see someone else like really try and hone that, I think that's special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So as a musician who does a fair bit of traveling, when and you get to work for some great festivals, to go to some great festivals, what is it like to play at some of those, especially places like Aspen and others?
Yeah. The two, I guess, big festivals that I've gotten a chance to be a part of are Aspen Music Festival and the National Orchestral Institute, who right now I'm working for them, helping move their festival online, which is interesting in itself. But the biggest thing about those, well, at Aspen, I actually went as part of the Fellowship Brass Quintet in 2017, I think, and with my group Anima Brass, and we got to work with the American Brass Quintet, which was just phenomenal. Those guys are really just the most dedicated educators and fantastic players. I can't speak highly enough about them.
Cool.
But the biggest thing is, besides the great faculty, is learning from your colleagues that you're playing with in the orchestra. Just like every day, the standard is so high, and you can't let you can't let the bar drop for yourself at all. Like, even if you're like, oh, maybe I'll be lazy today and like think a little bit less about my warm up or something. Like, no, you get to rehearsal at 9 a.m. and everyone sounds amazing. Yeah. So that's probably that was one of the biggest takeaways. I mean, there's been some of the best learning and playing experiences in my life. Cool.
Hopefully, a lot of relationships, a lot of good stuff coming out of those.
Oh yeah. I'm still in touch with like so many people from Aspen, NOI. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Very cool. Austin, I think it goes without saying that some people have way more time on their hands than they would have anticipated, during the past couple months. Is there a group, is there an artist, that we should all consider to add to our playlists?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And one I've been like asking all my friends too, what should I listen to right now?
Yeah.
There's two things that come to mind. One is, we're talking about contemporary classical music. So there's an album called Orange by the composer Caroline Shaw. And I hope I don't say this wrong, but Public Quartet is the quartet that she worked with. Okay. And it's all string quartets, but she is just the most amazing composer. She really has her own language and own style. But beyond that, she calls herself a string quartet junkie. And she's like absorbed the styles of all these amazing composers like Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, Brahms, all the quartet composers that we think of. And you really get a little bit of both. So I feel like it's a very accessible album. And I listen to it all the time. And then the other one is a jazz player. Her name is Mary Halverson. Okay. And this album is called Code Girl. And she won a MacArthur Genius Grant, I think, a couple of years ago. She's a guitarist, and I just feel like that album is top to bottom. My jaw's on the floor. It's amazing. Wow. So it's a little more, if you're used to listening to jazz, you'll hear a lot of like the current sounds. But if you're not used to listening to jazz, it might sound a little bit more out for you at times. But I think as a piece of art, it's just fantastic.
Cool. So we should be listening for Orange and Code Girl.
Code Girl. Yep.
Code Girl. Right. Yeah. I'm sold. I mean, where's the Amazon link to buy?
Yeah.
It's all good. Or iTunes.
This brought to you by.
Yes, exactly. Those great sponsors, which we have plenty here at the Symphony, and we are very thankful for all of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Austin, it is so great to see you. We're so glad that you're doing well. And things are progressing. And of course, as we always like to say, we will see you soon. We will see audiences soon. And so glad you could join us today. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to you, Andy, for having me. Oh, and of course. Thanks for the Westmoreland Symphony. As always, it's one of my favorite places to play. And thanks for bringing the horn to the front of the orchestra. Yes, as it well should be. It doesn't need to be hidden back there. Exactly. So cool. Austin, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Andy. We'll see you.